Hello, my wonderfully drowsy time travelers, my fellow lovers of slow-moving history and stories that melt your mind into dreams. Before we begin our journey to the distant past, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If these sleepy stories help you drift off, consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us create more content to lull restless minds to sleep. And if you're feeling extra cozy, leave us a comment. Tell us how long you lasted before dozing off. We love reading your experiences. Now, find your most comfortable position. Let your eyelids grow heavy and allow my voice to guide you into relaxation. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast, untouched wilderness. The air is still, heavy with the smell of earth, bark, and damp stone. There's a hush to the world, as if time itself has paused to let you settle in. The forest stretches in all directions, but you are not lost. You are transported backward, far beyond your own lifetime, beyond books, beyond kings and empires. And then, gently, forward again to a place of grandeur, of order and stillness, of shadows and silks. You're standing outside a quiet chamber. The walls are smooth stone, cool to the touch, polished by centuries of silent feet and the flicker of oil lamps. This is ancient Persia, the time of mighty kings, of royal roads winding through deserts, of moonlit gardens and golden firelight. But we will not walk the palace halls in daylight. We will not watch battles or processions. We have come for something much quieter, something gentler. We've come to witness the night, not the royal banquets, not the military councils, not the long, echoing footsteps of scribes. We're here to learn what the Persian kings wore to bed, and why that mattered, but to truly understand the mystery, we must first leave the palace behind. Let your mind drift now, further back, to a simpler, more dangerous time, before palaces, before beds, before kings. A time when night came without warning and food was never certain. You are waking up in the Stone Age. The sun has barely risen. The sky is pale and smoky, like ash drifting on blue. Your body feels heavy, cold from the earth beneath you. Your stomach twists with hunger, the kind of hunger that makes your teeth ache, that dull, gnawing pull behind the ribs. You look around. There is no fire, no cooking pot, no tools, just your hands, just your breath in the cold air. The forest around you is thick, alive with movement. You hear the flutter of wings, the soft crackle of leaves under something small. And so you begin to search. What would you eat? What could you eat? A pale root pokes through the soil. You kneel, dig it up with your fingers. It's hard, bitter smelling. You bite. It burns your tongue. Your throat tightens. Your stomach lurches. Not all roots are food. Some carry poisons, silent and colorless, toxins that can stop your heart or steal your breath in your sleep. You spit it out, wipe your mouth, keep walking. You find berries, tiny, purple, black, juicy, dot. You eat one, then another, sweet, but then your tongue tingles. A numbness creeps in. Some berries mimic the look of others. Harmless one day, deadly the next. You don't know which kind these are. Your ancestors didn't always know either. They learned the hard way. Further along, you spot a carcass. A rabbit. Its eyes glassy. Its fur stiff. You didn't catch it. You don't know how long it's been lying here. But the hunger, it grows. You kneel again. Tear a strip of meat with shaking hands. It smells wrong. A sour, rotting scent. But what choice is there in the ancient world? Food was a gamble, a quiet negotiation with nature. One wrong bite could mean a slow death, fever, vomiting, delirium. By moonlight, even water, yeah, even water could betray you. A clear stream, fresh and whole, might be hiding something. Bacteria, parasites, invisible, deadly. So they watched the animals, watched what birds pecked at, what the deer avoided, and still mistakes were made over and over. But from those mistakes came knowledge, and from knowledge came safety, then comfort, then ritual, then luxury. And so the long road begins, from a cold forest floor to the velvet chamber of a king. The Persian kings, they did not wonder if their food would kill them. They knew it would not. They did not fear sleep. They welcomed it because they had inherited the labor of ages, the lessons carved in hunger and pain. And so, at night, they could rest, wrapped in cloths spun by quiet hands, fragrant with oils, soft with warmth. But what did they wear when the torches dimmed, when the guards stepped back, and the king became simply a man to be continued? Let your mind drift now. We'll return soon, and when we do, you'll feel the touch of royal linen and hear the silence of a sleeping empire. Good night. Sleep well, traveler. The king is no longer seated on his golden throne, no longer surrounded by ministers, scribes, or warriors. The torches in the hallways have been lowered. The vast palace breathes in shadows, and somewhere beyond those carved doors, he sleeps, not in armor, not in robes heavy with gems, but in garments meant only for the hush of night. To understand what those were, we must look closely, not just at what he wore, but why it mattered. Because for the kings of ancient Persia, even sleep was a performance, a quiet declaration of their place in the cosmos. But Let's begin gently. The Persian Empire, especially under the rule of the Achaemenid kings, was not just a place of war and conquest. It was an empire of patterns, of ceremony, of layers upon layers, of meaning. Even sleep was something sacred. The chambers where the king rested were cool and high-ceilinged, walls lined with tapestries, thick with woven birds and stylized lions. The scent of frankincense hung in the air, faint but constant. There were no beds as we know them today, no soft springs, no cotton pillows from distant machines. Instead, low platforms of cedar wood, drawn, silent, polished until they gleamed in candlelight. Upon these platforms, thick cushions were layered, stuffed with wool, or sometimes down, covered in dyed linens and hand-embroidered silks. The fabrics were smooth against the skin and cool at first touch, then warm, breathing with the body. The Persian king would not sleep in his day clothes. They were symbols of authority, stiff with embroidery, threaded with gold. Instead, at night, he wore something softer, simpler, dark, yet still deliberate, a long tunic, often made of fine linen, woven so tightly it shimmered slightly. The weave was light, but not sheer. It allowed air to move, to cool the body gently. Sometimes, on colder nights, a second layer would be added, a robe made of soft wool or brushed cotton, dyed with natural colors, faded indigo, soft ochre, or deep, muted crimson. There was no flash, no golden trim, because this was not for others to see. This was the private self, the resting sovereign, and yet there were still rituals. Before sleep, attendants would anoint the king's hands, and sometimes his temples with gentle oils, spiced with saffron, cardamom, or rose petals steeped for days in pressed almond. The scent was not strong. It drifted like a thought, like a memory of gardens in spring. This oil was not for pleasure alone. It symbolized renewal, the release of burden, the return of the king's body to stillness. He would wash silently with warmed water in a copper basin, not splashed, but poured slowly. His fingers scrubbed with linen cloth to remove the dust of rule, to begin again. And then he would lie down, flat on his back sometimes, or curled softly on one side, one hand beneath the cheek, the other resting across the belly. Above him, the ceiling stretched into darkness, painted with distant suns, or left plain, so the mind could wander freely. The chamber was quiet, save for the softest breath and the occasional flutter of silk in the breeze, and in that stillness he would dream of gardens, of mountains, of stars above the desert. Sleep was not escape, it was communion, because in the Zoroastrian worldview, the dominant faith of the Persian kings, night was not evil. It was part of the divine cycle. Ahura Mazda, the creator, was not bound to light alone. Balance was everything, rest as sacred as waking. So, sleep was not idleness. It was harmony, alignment, a gift to the body and garments, the linens, the soft robes, the oils. They were part of that gift. A king who neglected the sanctity of night would slowly lose clarity, lose favor, and lose the trust of those who watched silently from the shadows. Because even the walls had memory, and even the silence could judge. And so, every night, the Persian king prepared himself not for war, not for law, but for surrender. The gentle surrender of sleep, of letting go, of drifting down into the warm, silent waters of dreams. Let's take a moment now to imagine the feel of that linen against skin, cool at first, then warm, following every breath. Let's picture the shadows moving slowly across the stone walls, the flicker of oil lamps, the hush of distant footsteps fading. Let's rest in that chamber, just for a little while, because the clothing is only part of the story. There are still deeper questions. Who wove these garments? Where did the dyes come from? How did scent become language and sleep become ceremony? We will return to trace the threads back to the hands that shaped them. To the meanings hidden in fabric and fragrance. But for now, let the image stay with you. A quiet room, a silent king, wrapped in linen and stillness, and the world, for a few soft hours, at peace, somewhere beyond the chamber, beneath moonlit colonnades. In the quiet corners of the empire, other hands did not sleep, because what the king wore to bed was never just what he wore. It was the product of days, of weeks, sometimes moons, the linens that cooled his body, the oils that scented his rest, the threads that lined his inner robe. All these began their lives far from the palace. Let your mind drift now, further away. Leave the golden gates behind. Let the sound of sandalwood doors grow faint. Let the silence stretch outward to distant fields, to hidden workshops, to hands at work. It is early. The sun barely crests the eastern hills. The air is chilled and heavy with dew. In a quiet valley, a woman leans over tall stalks, flax, the source of linen. She cuts them low to the ground, bundles them gently, carries them to soak, not in rivers, but in shallow pools dug just for this. Darkens, the fibers loosen, the plant softens, and what was once stiff begins its journey toward comfort. Later, in a shaded place, another pair of hands begins to dry the stalks, break them, comb them, pull them into long, shining threads. Threads so fine, they shimmer in the morning light. These threads are not rushed. They are twisted by hand, spun by calm fingers, woven by practiced rhythm. The loom creaks gently. A bird sings once, and the air smells faintly of straw and river mud. Every movement is slow, intentional, because these are royal linens. They will touch the skin of the king, and so they must be perfect. Once woven, they are soaked again, washed with scented water, pressed between stones, and dried on smooth, oiled wood. Then they are folded and carried by mule, by boat, by hand, docked across dry hills, through guarded gates, into the palace, and then to rest until night. But linen alone was not enough. There were dyes, fragrances, trims. The king's night robe was not loud, but it carried whispers of meaning, a faded indigo, not just for beauty, but to echo the night sky, a soft stripe of deep green, symbol of life and of Zoroastrian renewal. In some robes, there were tiny patterns embroidered in fine silk, barely visible, not meant to impress, meant only for the dreamer himself. Stars, pin, cane, salt, waves, symbols drawn from ancient memory, passed down through thread and needle. Some patterns told prayers, others stories, and while the king may not have spoken of them aloud, he knew when he ran his hand across the fabric, when he felt the threads at his neck. He knew what they meant. He knew who made them, because nothing was impersonal in the ancient world. Even the softest garment carried the scent of its maker's hands, the rhythm of her loom, the quiet of her mornings. And when the king lay down to rest, he did not sleep alone. He slept in the care of his people, wrapped in their work, cradled by their patience, their silence, their hope. Let's return now, gently, to the inner chamber. The linens are folded on a cedar chest. The oil lamp flickers, throwing warm shadows against polished stone. An attendant, barefoot, quiet, prepares the bed. She smooths the fabric, brushes away a speck of dust no one would notice, lays the robe down carefully. The linen tunic rests nearby, freshly pressed, light as breath. Another servant steps forward, carrying a small bowl. Inside, thick oil, the color of honey. He warms it with his hands, adds a drop of rose essence, and waits. Ding enters, not as ruler, but as a man. He says nothing. No words are needed. He washes his hands, his face, his feet, each motion slow, familiar, honoring something older than himself. He breathes deep. The rose oil opens, spreads softly through the room. Then he lifts the tunic, slides it over his head. The linen kisses the skin, weightless, cool. A moment later, the robe follows, wool or cotton, brushed by hand. He ties it loosely, a soft knot, nothing binding, only enough to hold warm. He lies back, the cushion sighs beneath him, the stone beneath that ancient duck, unmoving. His hand touches the embroidered hem, traces the curve of a tiny stitched star. It flickers, then fades. There is no ceremony to this moment, and yet is sacred, because the body, having carried the weight of rule, now releases it. Sleep is not escape, it is return to breath, to rhythm, to stillness, the kind that does not ask questions, that does not seek to impress, that does not need to prove anything at all, only to be and to rest. And in the silence there is peace. Now let us step quietly out of the chamber. Let the curtains fall gently behind us. Let the night hold its secrets, because there is more still to discover. Not just what the kings wore to bed, but what sleep meant to them. Why rest, true rest, was seen not as weakness, but as wisdom, as part of ruling, as part of being whole. In the next part of our story, we will explore this philosophy, the beliefs, the rituals, and the quiet power of sleep in ancient Persia. But for now, you don't need to think, you don't need to remember, just feel the softness of linen on your skin, the faintest trace of rose in the air, the hush of a sleeping world, and know that you, too, are allowed to rest, to be wrapped in silence, and to drift slowly, gently into dreams. The stars shift quietly overhead, invisible beyond the carved ceilings, but always present, always watching. The king sleeps, his breath deep and slow, his limbs relaxed. But while the body rests, another part stirs, not with worry, not with noise, but with meaning, drifting just beneath the surface of thought. Because sleep, to the ancient Persian mind, was not an empty thing. It was not a break from life. It was life, one part of the great balance. They believed the world was built from opposites, light and darkness, warmth and cold, action and stillness, and sleep was the stillness that healed. The Persians, especially under the teachings of Zoroastrianism, saw existence as a battle between truth and falsehood, between harmony and chaos, and the body, the vessel through which we live, had to be cared for, cleansed, aligned, not only in waking, but in sleep. So, the way the king prepared for rest, the garments he wore, the oils he used, the way his room was shaped, it was not random. It was intentional, sacred. Let's imagine the room once more. It is not crowded. There are no piles of gold, no jewels scattered on stone, only what is needed. A low bed, smooth fabrics, one oil lamp. The flame is steady, its light soft and amber. There are no loud decorations, because this space is not for the eyes, it is for the breath, and the rhythm of being, in and out, in and out. Each object in the room was placed with care. The bed faces east, toward the rising sun, toward renewal. A small dish sits nearby, clay, handmade, unpainted. Inside, a pinch of dried herbs, lavender, maybe myrtle, not burned, just placed to infuse the air slowly, gently, so the room carries a whisper of earth, of calm, of forgotten hillsides. The linens have been warmed, not with fire, but by the hands that folded them. The robe hangs loosely on the king's frame, its belt untied, ready to slip away as dreams arrive. And those dreams were seen as sacred too, not just images, not nonsense, but messages, some from the self, some from deeper places. The Zoroastrian texts speak softly of dream and vision, of how the soul rises during sleep, wanders through light, through shadow, returns with knowledge that the waking mind cannot always hold. So the king was not just sleeping, he was journeying, and his garments, his room, his stillness were a kind of vessel, protecting him as he drifted through unseen places. There were no alarms, no sudden lights. The night unfolded slowly, like ink in water. Even the guards outside moved carefully, so as not to disturb the balance, because the rest of the king meant the rest of the realm. His sleep was their peace, his silence their steadiness, and all of it rooted in preparation. He did not simply fall asleep. He descended into a space prepared for him by centuries of thought, by hands he would never meet, by prayers spoken in looms and dyes. Even his pillow, not stuffed with down alone, but sometimes filled with herbs, chamomile, ash bar, rose leaves dried in shade, not for strong scent, but for symbolism. Each leaf a quiet invocation. May your thoughts be calm. May your body release its weight. May the night carry you gently. Even the act of laying down was slow, ceremonial. The tunic would shift softly around him. The robe would gather in folds. The fabric cooled his skin, but also grounded him, kept his body anchored as his mind wandered. And sometimes, in moments between waking and sleep, he would whisper a name, not his own, but something larger. Ahura Mazda, the source, the flame within all things, a soft prayer, a thread tying the king to the universe. Then nothing, only stillness, only sleep, and the belief that the soul would return, cleansed, quiet, whole. Let's stay in this moment, not rush forward. Let us listen to the hush, the hum of distant wind against stone, the sigh of linen shifting with breath. This is not just a bedtime. It is a ceremony of return, coming back to self, to simplicity. The body warm, the air fragrant, the senses soft. You don't need to understand it all. Just feel it, as if you too are lying in that ancient room, wrapped in robes no one will see, safe from noise, safe from weight, because rest, real rest, is not a reward. It is your right, and the Persians, perhaps more than many, knew this. They gave it shape and scent and cloth. They made it sacred, so the king might rise again, not just restored, but realigned. Ready to rule not with exhaustion, but with calm and clarity. And you too may now follow into your own stillness. Let the sounds fade, let the muscles loosen, let the breath simply be. Because in the next part of our story, we'll trace the legacy of this sacred rest and discover how nightwear, soft and simple, carried the weight of the divine. But for now, be still. Let your inner light dim gently, like a lamp preparing for dawn, somewhere far beyond the palace wall, beyond the polished chambers and guarded courtyards, beyond the cedar bed frames and perfumed oils. Sleep was finding others too, not kings, not nobles, but people, quiet people, mothers, weavers, scribes, stone carvers. Their dreams too rose into the night, wound their way through the stars, and returned with silence, because sleep, though dressed in finer robes for a king, was not reserved only for royalty. Its sanctity flowed through every layer of Persian life, from the grandest halls to the humblest homes. The idea was simple and powerful. Night was sacred, rest was sacred, and how one entered that rest was a form of offering. Let your mind float now, beyond the palace gates, to a small village, stone walls, thatched roof, a single flickering flame. Inside, a woman folds a worn but clean tunic, its edges hand-stitched with quiet care. No royal dyes, no imported linen, but soft and cool. She places it beside her sleeping mat, brushes the dust from the hem. Nearby, her child is already asleep, wrapped in a woven shawl, its color faded by many moons. The room smells of old wool, baked earth, and lavender rubbed between fingers. No one watches, no one praises, but still there is ritual, because these people, though not crowned, still believed that the body was a gift, and what touched it in sleep should be clean, should be soft, should honor the breath. Persian culture, shaped by centuries of Zoroastrian rhythm, valued cleanliness deeply, not for show, but for soul. Clean hands, clean garments, clean sleep, not because dirt was evil, but because harmony required intention, even the act of changing into night clothes was part of that intention. A line between day and night, between noise and stillness, between the role and the real. And so, a man might return from the field, his back sore, his feet dust covered, and before sleep he would rinse, not always with abundance, but with what was possible: a basin, a cloth, cool water from a clay jar. He would sit quietly, dry his hands slowly. He would remove his outer garments, hang them neatly, fold his tunic, and lie down. The cloth touching his skin might be rougher than that of the king, but it too was chosen, cared for, prepared, and in that softness he would drift, because sleep was never just the end of the day. It was the rejoining of soul and breath, of silence and being, and in this way the robes of kings and the shawls of villagers shared something rare. Purpose of even the materials. Wool, linen, cotton carried meaning. Wool was warmth, protection, a whisper of the highlands, of herds grazing in the thin morning mist. Linen was purity, clarity. It cooled the skin, smelled of sun, dried fields. Cotton, though rarer, offered softness, a newer luxury, carried up from India and slowly woven into Persian dreams. These materials weren't just chosen for comfort. They were part of a deeper language, a language of sensation, a quiet conversation with the body. Rest now, the linen said. You've done enough. The wool whispered. You are safe, the cotton breathed. And in that hush, people believed that the divine could draw near, not in fire, not in vision, but in the pause, the in-between, and that's where sleep lived. So, what the Persian kings wore to bed, those soft tunics, those fragrant robes, were not born from vanity. They were shaped by a culture that understood something we often forget. That rest is holy. That fabric can be sacred. That breath, when honored, opens the soul. And so the robes were not costumes. They were bridges between waking and sleep, being form and formless. And even the colors carried weight. Soft blues for water, for mercy, for calm, warm earth tones, for grounding, for balance. No color was chosen lightly, because each tone resonated, not with eyes, but with the inner life. Even patterns had rules. The simplest bands at the hem meant continuity, eternity, a subtle border between what is seen and what is felt. Let your thoughts rest now on these quiet details. The feel of wool against skin, the cool breath of linen as you turn, the hush of ancient footsteps disappearing into fabric and shadow. You don't need to be a king to sleep like one. You only need the ritual, the intention, to change your garments slowly, to quiet the air, to light just one flame, to listen to the hush, because in that hush, something eternal stirs, something that passed from weaver to tailor, to servant, to king, and now, perhaps, to you. So let your body grow heavy. Let your thoughts loosen their grip. You are not falling asleep. You are being received by the same stillness that once welcomed kings. And when we return in the final part of our journey, we will follow the last thread to where night meets memory, where dream meets silence, and where one soft robe became a symbol of what it meant to rule without words. But for now, close your eyes, feel the fabric settle, and know you are exactly where you're meant to be, somewhere deep in the folds of time, long after the robes were folded, long after the king closed his eyes. The cloth remained, not the same fabric, not the same stitches, but the memory of rest as a sacred act, of softness as power, of stillness as wisdom. Why? Because even when empires fade, some things echo, not in noise, but in texture, in breath, in ritual. You see, the Persian kings sleep where those quiet tunics, those fragrant robes were not only garments, they were gestures, and over time, those gestures became memory. Let us drift now to a different moment, a future moment, but still long ago. A merchant lays down in a distant land. He carries spices across deserts, traded cloth at the gates of Persepolis. He folds his travel robes, removes the inner one, and puts on a simpler garment, lightweight, hand-sewn. He closes his eyes, and though he is far from any palace, he too repeats the ritual. He breathes deeply, he lies still, and he dreams, because the influence of Persia and its deep respect for rest spread like light in water along the royal road, where messages flew faster than wind. So too did ideas, philosophies, practices, clothing, and with every whisper of linen, the tradition of sacred sleep endured. In the fabrics of the Greeks, in the oils of the Egyptians, even in the silks of the East, Persia's softness lingered. And though empires fell, and names changed, and borders shifted like dunes, the wisdom of gentle rest remained, passed not by decree, but by repetition. A father teaching a son to fold his robe, a grandmother sent him cloth with herbs, a servant preparing a sleeping mat, just so, with the corners smooth and the center slightly warm. These were not laws, they were quieter than that, and because they were quiet, they lasted. Let your mind return now to the sleeping chamber, not the king's, not the villagers, but yours, your room, your quiet, what touches your skin as you rest. Not just fabric, but care, whether made by your hand or another's. What matters most is intention, the decision to pause, to surrender, to trust. The Persian kings ruled vast lands. They commanded armies, dictated laws, gathered tribute from the corners of the world. But at night, they stepped away from that throne, set down their scepters, untied their belt, and became simply a body, a breath, a soul in need of silence. In this, they were no different from you, and perhaps that is the secret. The cloth still carries that beneath layers of power, beneath gold and ceremony. All of us return to softness, to warmth, i.e., to the slow rhythm of sleep. And when we honor that rhythm, when we fold the blanket just right, when we light a candle, or dim the light, or breathe in the scent of something gentle, we are not being small. We are echoing something ancient. We are remembering, not with the mind, but with the skin, the lungs, the heart. We are returning to the quiet chamber where the air is still, the night stretches on, and the weight of the day melts away. And so now, as our journey comes to its close, you may finally let go. There is nothing more to wonder, nothing more to know, only the softness, only the hush, only the stillness that waits for you with open arms. Let your arms grow heavy, let your legs loosen, let the fabric you're wearing, whatever it may be, gently wrap around you, not as decoration, not as fashion, but as a final, loving gesture to the self that has carried you this far. The Persian kings once did the same. They too closed their eyes beneath linen, beneath stars. They too released their names to the silence of sleep. And you, here, now, can do the same. Not because you rule a kingdom, but because you deserve peace. And now you have it. So sleep deeply, breathe slowly, and if the cloth at your shoulder feels just a little softer tonight, perhaps it's because memory lingers, not in the mind, but in the ritual, in the way we prepare, the way we rest, the way we let go. This has been your journey, not just through history, but through the quiet sanctity of sleep itself, from fiber to robe to breath. And now you are home. Good night, traveler. May your dreams be as soft as the linen of kings. The room is silent now, but silence never means emptiness. It means presence. It means space to listen, to feel. And when we truly slow down, we start to hear things woven between the words, the breath of linen as it shifts, the quiet memory tucked in every fold, the hands forgotten now that once stitched the hem with devotion. So here we are, still in the chamber, still wrapped in sleep. But let's go deeper. Let's stay a little longer inside the world of cloth and meaning, because even centuries later, we are still connected to these garments, not by ownership, but by essence. You see, what the Persian kings wore to bed was never just about them. It was about a philosophy, a rhythm, a way of living in the body and treating the body not as a machine, but as a temple. Let's look again at the robe. Yes, the cut was simple. Yes, the dye was subtle. But what truly gave it life was what it allowed: freedom to breathe, to move without resistance, to rest without armor. In that robe, the king was no longer performing. He was simply being, and that is a lesson we still forget. That softness has value. That stillness is an act of strength. That gentle fabric can cradle a tired soul better than gold or steel ever could. And as you lie there now, perhaps in your own row, your own sleep shirt, or just beneath a familiar blanket, you are part of the same lineage. You are repeating the same ritual: to undress the day, to wrap yourself in comfort, to surrender, not in defeat, but in wisdom. The ancient Persians understood this. They built their empire, not just with stone and law, but with rhythm, day and night, action and rest, heat and cool, voice and hush, and woven through all of it was balance. That same balance lives in the garments they left behind. Even the threads had their direction: warp and weft, structure and softness. Their weavers were not just craftsmen, they were interpreters of silence. And when they created a robe for sleep, they weren't just covering the body, they were preparing the soul for the unseen journey of dream. Can you feel it now? That same preparation surrounding you, in the way your pillow supports your head, in the way your blanket hugs your shoulder, in the coolness beneath your knees. These are not accidents. They are quiet blessings, modern, but still sacred, because rest is not a luxury. It is a return to something older than words, softer than sound. Let's stay here a little longer, still, safe, wrapped in the hush that follows understanding. Imagine now those ancient robes being folded one by one, softly, lovingly placed into wooden chests, scented with dry herbs, resting in darkness until the moon rose again, the same way you prepare your own garments. Perhaps you fold them. Perhaps you drape them over a chair. Perhaps they live in a drawer with lavender tucked inside. Each time you touch them, you carry forward. Practice older than empire, The Persians believed that everything had a spirit, even cloth, even scent, even violence. And so, when they dressed for bed, they didn't just cover their bodies, they wrapped themselves in respect for sleep, for the body, for the invisible world that opens when the eyes close. And that is something you can carry with you tonight. Not just knowledge, but presence, because everything in your room, everything touching your skin, can be part of the ritual, if you allow it. The softness of your shirt, the familiar scent on your blanket, the sound of quiet, all of it can be sacred. All of it can prepare you for rest. The kings of old may have worn fine robes, but their greatness was not in fabric. It was in their surrender to the night, their understanding that no crown was heavier than exhaustion, and no rope more valuable than one that lets the body breathe. So breathe right now, in, out. Feel your ribs rise and fall like a tide. You are not falling asleep, you are entering a soft ceremony, just like they did long ago. No throne, no gods, no scrolls to sign, just the silence and the breath and the cloth and slow, kind dark. Let it hold you. Let it teach you without words that you deserve this rest, that your body has earned this robe, this blanket, this stillness, not because you've done something great, but because you are here and you are human, and that is enough. So close your eyes. Let the weight of the fabric anchor you. Let the rhythm of your breath carry you. You are safe. You are soft. You are still. Young. And just like the kings of old, you are ready. Ready to cross into that quiet country where thought dissolves, where memory weaves itself into dreams. Let go now. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to fix, only sleep and the gentle cloth that wraps around you like time itself. The night lingers, longer now, quieter, the stars still waiting behind the curtain of sleep, the robe folded at your feet, the blanket gently rising with your breath. And in this space where body and fabric meet, you are not just resting, you are remembering, not with your mind, but with something deeper, a sensation, a warmth, a silence that reaches all the way back to a time when sleep was sacred. Let's drift once more to the quiet world of the Persian night, not the loud halls of celebration, not the bustling courtyards of golden banquets, but the moment after, when the fires are low, when sandals have been placed aside, when footsteps are no longer needed, That's when the garments returned, the ones meant only for sleep, only for stillness, hung on smooth wooden hooks, laid across cool stone benches, folded on polished trays. They waited for the moment when the body would return to itself. Let's walk with that moment now. The king, not young, not old, stands in his chamber. His outer robe is removed, the symbols of rule undone, the turban unwrapped, the necklace unfastened, the rings slipped off, each piece set aside like a petal falling from a flower. And there he stands, barefoot, plain, dying, quiet. A servant approaches, but not to dress him, not to speak, only to offer, gently, a folded tunic. It is light, cool to the touch, soft from many wearings. The king lifts it slowly, draws it over his shoulders, feels it settle against his skin. No armor, no weight, only cloth. Then he sits, not on a throne, but on a low cushion near the bed. He breathes. Outside the chamber, the world holds its breath, too, because this moment, simple as it may seem, is part of a larger rhythm, a return, a realignment. In this stillness, the robe becomes more than garment. It becomes a sign that the body is no longer for work, that the mind may soften, that the spirit may uncoil and drift. You see, in Persian philosophy, the night was not an interruption. It was a completion, a place where the unseen parts of life found their shape. And so the robes worn to bed, soft, loose, scented with oil, were designed not just for sleep, but for transition, to lead the wearer from noise to hush, from effort to ease, from the role to the soul. And while the king lay in stillness, wrapped in linen or cotton, he was not alone, not truly, because all across the empire, others were doing the same. Merchants folding away their ledgers, scribes setting down their pens, mothers brushing dust from their children's hair, each one preparing in their own way for the descent into sleep. Some in simple cloth, some in wool softened by time, some wrapped in shawls that smelled faintly of ash and rose. But all were joining the same ritual, the quiet act of surrendering to the night, of trusting that in rest they would be restored, and the garments they wore, though different in detail, shared something timeless: softness, intention, respect. And now, so do yours. Whatever touches your skin tonight, whether fine cotton or a worn t-shirt, it has become your robe, not because of the thread, but because of the meaning. You have prepared, you have breathed, you have arrived, and like the kings of Persia, you are ready to fall into the arms of sleep. Let the fabric cradle you now. Feel how it adjusts to every movement, how it holds nothing tight, how it invites your breath to deepen. There are no scrolls left to sign, no words left to speak, only the soft whisper of clock and the long, slow rhythm of night. Outside, somewhere in a faraway wind, a branch stirs, a leaf turns. Inside, your body slows, your thoughts blur, and in the distance, a memory begins to dream. It is not a memory of yours, but something older, something that lives in the way fingers fold a hem, in the way threads meet. It is the memory of those ancient nights, of moonlight on polished stone, of robes cooling in desert air, of a king breathing deeply, trusting the silence to hold him. And now you are part of that memory. You have become one more echo in the long, soft history of rest. Let your head sink now, heavier, deeper. But there is nothing more to find. Only this, only here, a row, a breath, a darkness so gentle it feels like home. This is not the end. Not really, because every night is a new beginning, and every time you let go, you return to the sacred stillness that the kings once honored. So tonight, sleep like a king, not because of gold, not because of power, but because you understand what they once knew, that peace is found in softness, that truth speaks in silence, and that the body, when given care, can lead the soul back to wholeness. Good night, gentle traveler. Let the robe wrap you in all that is ancient and kind, and let sleep carry you home. The world outside the chamber shifts slowly, almost imperceptibly. The night deepens. Soft shadows stretch and fold against the walls. Inside, the quiet continues. The fabric, still resting lightly against the skin, carries warmth and memory alike. It is strange how cloth, simple and silent, can hold so much meaning for the Persian kings and for all who lived under their reign. Sleepwear was more than mere clothing. It was a bridge, under passage from the weight of the day to the freedom of night. Imagine again that slow moment when the king's hand grazes the soft linen, how the fibers whisper secrets only the skin can understand. Not all could see it, not all could feel it, but those who knew understood the sacredness of preparation. To wear these robes was to honor the unseen world, to invite peace, to create a space where the soul could wander freely. The weight of empire could be heavy, but the weight of night was light. There was power in softness, in releasing control, in trusting the slow, gentle descent into sleep. And it was not just about comfort. The ancient Persians believed that every element had spirit: the earth, the air, the water, and even the cloth that touched their bodies. So the tunics were made carefully, from fibers gathered with respect, spun with intention, dyed with colors drawn from nature's palette, soft blues from the indigo plant, earthy reds from crushed roots, gentle whites from the cotton fields. Each color carried meaning, a silent prayer woven into the threads. The designs were subtle. Bands at hems symbolized protection. Geometric patterns echoed the cosmos. Borders reminded of boundaries between worlds. To wear these robes was to become part of something greater, not just a king or a subject, but a thread in the vast tapestry of existence. Now, picture the bedroom again. The air cools slightly as the night deepens. A faint scent of myrtle and lavender drifts softly. The low flame flickers and casts dancing shadows. The bed, simple but sturdy, awaits. The linens smooth and inviting. The king lays down, his body relaxing into the mattress, the robe slipping easily over his skin. His breath slows, deepens. Outside, the empire sleeps. The gods stand watch, silent and steady. The servants move quietly, ensuring nothing disturbs the peace. In that stillness, the king's soul begins to journey through the veil of sleep toward places unseen. Dreams are not idle fantasies. They are threads of truth, woven into the fabric of night. The ancient Persians believed the soul left the body during sleep, traveling to realms of light and shadow, returning with wisdom, with guidance, and the robes, the garments worn in sleep, were the vessels for this voyage, soft, unrestrictive, infused with the scents of earth and herb. They protected and comforted. They held the king safe as he crossed the boundaries between worlds. Can you feel the weight of this moment? The sacred hush that envelops everything? Now, bring your own breath into that hush. Slow it, soften it. Feel your body sink deeper. Feel the robe or blanket resting lightly. You are not alone in this ancient ritual. You are part of a long, gentle lineage. The lineage of rest. The lineage of sacred softness. And as you drift, remember this. The fabric that touches you now is more than cloth. It is a symbol, a prayer, a bridge between waking and dreaming, between the world and the unseen, between the weight you carry and the lightness you seek. Let go now. Let the softness envelop you. The night is long. The journey is gentle. And the robe of kings is wrapped around your spirit. The night deepens around you. The world grows quieter. The gentle rhythm of your breath becomes the only sound. Within this stillness, there's a story unfolding. A story of fabric, of ritual, of soft illumination. The Persian kings, whose power stretched across vast lands, understood something simple, something ancient, that the body must be honored, that rest is sacred. And so the robes they wore to bed were not mere clothes. They were expressions of care, of release, of return. Imagine once again the king's chamber, the cool stone underfoot, the flickering light of an oil lamp, the delicate scent of saffron and rose drifting through the air. There, laid out carefully, was a robe made of the finest linen, its color soft, like morning mist, its texture smooth, like the surface of a still lake. The king reaches for it slowly. His fingers trace the fabric's folds. He lifts it gently, as if awakening an old friend. To slip into this robe was to step out of the world of demands, out of the role of ruler, and into a place of softness, where the weight of gold and duty fell away like autumn leaves. The linen wrapped him lightly, a kin skin that breathed with him. It cooled and warmed in turn, following the natural rhythm of his body. Around his neck, a thin scarf, embroidered with delicate patterns, carried the scent of myrrh and cedar, a reminder of earth and sky, of balance and harmony. The king sat beside his bed, eyes closing gently, breath deepening. Outside the empire slept on, cities and villages wrapped in their own rituals of rest. Not all had such fine robes, not all could bathe in perfumed oils, but all understood the sacredness of sleep. Even the simplest garments were treated with reverence, folded carefully, kept clean, set aside for the night, because the transition from day to night was a journey, a ritual, and the cloth was part of the passage from action to stillness, from noise to silence. Now, as you lie wrapped in your own cloth, soft, worn, new, or borrowed, feel the connection. Feel how the fabric touches your skin, how it moves with you, how it invites peace. This is no small thing. It is the echo of centuries, the whisper of hands long gone, the breath of those who knew that rest was not weakness, but strength. That surrender to sleep was a sacred art, and as you breathe, slowly letting go, you join that art. The Persian kings and all their subjects, their servants, their warriors, their families, all pass through this same gateway, a gateway of softness, of intention, of peace. So now, as your eyelids grow heavy, as your mind quiets and your body sinks deeper, remember this: the robe you wear tonight is not just fabric, it is a symbol of care, of respect, of the eternal human need for rest. Let it hold you gently, let it cradle your dreams, and know that, as the Persian kings did, you are wrapped in something sacred, the sacredness of night, the sacredness of softness, the sacredness of letting go. Good night, dear traveler. May your sleep be deep and your dreams gentle, and when you wake, may you carry the peace of this moment with you into the light of day. The gentle rhythm of the night continues to hold us, a slow, steady pulse beneath the surface of stillness. In the quiet corners of ancient Persia, where empires rose and fell like the sun, there was a sacred understanding that rest was not just a pause, not simply an absence of activity, but a necessary weaving, a joining of body and spirit, a mending of what the day had worn thin, and the garments the kings chose to wear to bed, those soft, flowing robes, were more than comfort. They were a language, conversation with the self. Imagine now the texture beneath your fingers, the way fine linen cools against skin, how the fibers breathe, how they move with the smallest shifts. The ancient weavers knew this. Their hands, guided by tradition, pulled thread through thread to create not just cloth, but a sanctuary, each stitch a promise, each fold a blessing. These robes were gentle armor, not against enemies, but against the harshness of waking. The soft embrace of fabric was meant to prepare the soul for the voyage into sleep, a voyage where dreams become guides and the unconscious reveals its wisdom. The Persian kings, wrapped in their night robes, lay not on thrones, but on cushions and beds soft with woven threads. Their breaths slowed, their hearts eased, and the world around them softened. Outside their chambers, the night stretched endlessly. The stars watched silently, guardians of the night's mysteries, and as they drifted deeper, the fabric of their robes became a part of the dreamscape, the delicate patterns woven into the cloth mirrored the constellations above, the scents infused into the fibers. Jasmine, rose, sandalwood guided the soul gently forward. Sleep was not a surrender. It was an embrace, a return to balance, a moment where power and vulnerability intertwined. And you, lying now in your own quiet space, are part of that continuum, your own fabric, your own softness, your own nightly ritual, are threads in the same ancient tapestry. As you breathe slowly, feel the connection between past and present, between body and spirit, between night and day. The Persian kings once rested like this, and so do you, because sleep is the great equalizer. No crown can protect you from it. No sword can command it. It arrives softly, whispering peace, offering renewal, and the garments we wear are the silent partners in this sacred dance. The soft rustle of fabric is the music of rest. The gentle weight on our skin is the embrace of calm. So, as your eyelids grow heavy and your breath deepens, Know that you are wrapped in something timeless, a tradition of care, a ritual of release, and when you finally drift away, may your dreams be as gentle as the linens that once cloaked kings. May your sleep be as deep as the deserts of Persia, and may you wake refreshed, ready to face the new day with grace and calm. I obey. Let go now. The night awaits. Oh, the robe is yours. The journey begins. Good night, gentle traveler. The night holds a stillness that feels almost alive. It breathes gently around you, carrying whispers of distant times. The soft rustle of linen might be the oldest sound of comfort. Imagine the hands that wove those threads long ago. How carefully they chose each fiber, how patiently they spun the yarn. In the heart of ancient Persia, this was no ordinary task. It was a sacred labor, a weaving of protection and peace, because the king, in all his splendor and might, was also a man who needed rest, and the robe he wore to bed was a symbol of his humanity. The fabric wrapped him in softness, shielding him from the world's sharp edges. It whispered calm into his weary limbs, and as you feel your own fabric against your skin, know that you share in this ancient embrace. The patterns stitched into those robes were more than decoration. They told stories, stories of stars and rivers, of the cycle of day and night. Each motif was a prayer, a wish for protection through the darkness. The colors were chosen with care, blues like the deep sky, greens like the fertile fields, whites like the pure light of dawn. The scent of oils infused in the cloth, jasmine, rose, myrrh, was not just for pleasure. It was medicine for the soul, a balm to soothe the mind. The king, resting beneath such care, could finally let go. Let go of power. Let go of worry, and allow the night to cradle him. As you lie in your own quiet space, feel the weight of this knowledge that rest is not a pause, but a profound act of renewal, that the softness around you is a gift, a bridge between the busyness of the day and the mystery of dreams. In this moment, you are connected to a lineage of rest, a heritage woven from threads of kindness and care. So, breathe deeply now. Let the fabric of your sleepwear and the softness of your bedding carry you gently into a realm where time slows, where worries fade, where only the hush remains. You are wrapped in history and in comfort, and as the night stretches on, let the fabric of dreams unfold, slowly, softly, like the gentle folding of a king's robe. Good night, dear traveler. May your rest be deep, may your dreams be kind, and may you awaken, renewed, ready to greet the dawn with a peaceful heart. The night deepens still, a gentle hush wraps the world like a soft shawl. In this quiet, there is a rhythm, pulse, almost like the beating of a distant drum. It is the heartbeat of history, the slow unfolding of time. The Persian kings, resting beneath their delicate robes, were part of that heartbeat. Each fold of their linen carried a story, each thread a silent prayer. Imagine the sensation of that fabric, cool and smooth, light enough to float, yet warm enough to hold close. The kings understood that the night was a sacred space, a place not only to rest, but to reconnect to themselves, to the earth beneath them, to the cosmos above. Their sleepwear was a vessel for this reconnection. Its simplicity was deliberate, no gaudy ornamentation to distract, only the soft embrace of cloth. The robe wrapped them in a tender ritual, a final act of surrender to the day's end. Imagine now the faint scent lingering in the air, hints of rose and cedarwood, essences carefully infused into the fabric. These aromas whispered calmness. They spoke of gardens in full bloom, of ancient forests swaying gently, and as the king breathed in these scents, his body relaxed further. His mind drifted gently towards sleep, but sleep was no ordinary thing. In Persian thought, sleep was a journey, a crossing into a realm beyond sight. The soul, unbound by the body's limitations, wandered through dreams, gathering wisdom, healing wounds unseen. The robe, soft and unrestricted, was designed to honor this voyage, to keep the sleeper safe, to cradle the spirit gently. Now, in your own quiet space, wrapped in your chosen nightwear, feel the connection across time, the softness against your skin, the quiet breath of fabric moving with you. Know that you are participating in an ancient ritual, one of care, of intention, of deep respect for rest. As your breath slows and deepens, allow yourself to become still. Let the fabric become your sanctuary, the softness your shield. Feel the tension melt away, the thoughts quiet, the world recede. You are wrapped in history, in kindness, in the gentle night, and in this sacred space. Allow yourself to drift, to float, to rest, because rest is not weakness. It is a profound strength, a renewal, a return to wholeness. So, sleep now, dear traveler. Let the robe of ancient kings wrap you in peace, and may your dreams carry you through the quiet night, soft as silk, deep as the desert sky. Good night. The night's quiet deepens, folding softly around you like a whisper. Every breath is slow now, measured like the sway of ancient trees in a gentle desert breeze. Imagine once more the Persian king's chamber, bathed in the pale glow of oil lamps, their flames flickering shadows that dance lightly on the cool stone walls. There lies the bed, woven with care, draped in linens smooth as water. The robe, folded neatly at the edge, awaits its moment. The king's hand reaches out, touches the soft fabric, feels the story woven into every thread. It's a story of patience, of reverence for rest, and the sacred rhythm of night. Each fiber was chosen with care, linen from flax, spun by hands that understood the meaning of softness, dyed in subtle hues from nature's palette. The cloth carries the scent of the earth, mixed with essences of rose and myrrh, capturing the balance of life itself. To wear this robe was to enter a space beyond power and pomp, a realm of quiet reflection and renewal. The king would slip the robe over his skin, feeling the cool touch settle gently, a tender shield against the stillness of night. And as he lay down, his breath would slow, his body release the burdens of the day. Sleep was a sacred passage, a journey where the soul wandered freely, guided by dreams woven from the threads of stars. In Persian belief, the night was alive, filled with unseen presences and whispered truths. The soft fabric of the robe was a guardian, a vessel for protection as the sleeper crossed realms unseen. Now, feel the fabric that touches your own skin, whether it is linen, cotton, or something soft and familiar. Know that it is part of an ancient tradition, a tradition of honoring the night, of preparing the body and mind for rest. As your breath deepens, let the softness wrap around you. Let go of the day's worries. Release tension from your limbs. You are entering a sacred space now, a space where the past and present meet, where kings and common folk alike find peace. Your sleepwear is your cloak, your comfort, your quiet companion. Feel it hold you gently, inviting your spirit to drift. The night stretches on, and you move deeper into its embrace. The stars outside continue their silent watch, witnessing the endless cycle of rest and renewal. In this moment, you are part of that cycle, a thread in the vast tapestry of time. Rest now, gentle traveler. Let the robe of ancient kings wrap you in softness and peace, and may your dreams be as vast and gentle as the Persian desert sky. Good night. The night drapes its velvet cloak around the world, softening edges, quieting minds, and inviting rest. In the stillness of this hour, imagine again the chambers of ancient Persia, not the bustling courts, not the grandeur of palaces filled with gold and marble, but the silent spaces between moments where kings prepared to surrender to the night. There, a robe lies waiting, woven from threads, spun with reverence and care. It's not heavy, not ornate, but light breathable, and soft, a fabric that seems to breathe along the body it covers. Its color might be a gentle cream or the softest sky blue, shades that soothe the eyes and calm the spirit. This robe carries the scent of distant gardens, fragrant blossoms of rose and jasmine, mingling with earthy hints of myrrh and cedarwood. Each thread tells a story of tradition, of careful craft, of ritualized rituals that mark the end of the day. The Persian king, removed from the armor of rule, steps into this garment as if crossing a threshold. The hard demands of leadership fall away. The weight of empire softens, wrapped in linen that whispers against his skin. He embraces vulnerability, not as a sign of weakness, but as an offering to the night. His breath slows, his heartbeat softens, the chamber's shadows lengthen. The fabric cradles him gently, like a quiet promise of peace. Outside, the empire sleeps, cities and villages alike, wrapped in their own quiet ceremonies of rest. Not everyone could afford such finery, but all understood the sacredness of sleep. Simple cotton tunics, woven by loving hands, served the same purpose: to prepare the body and mind for the voyage through dreams. In Persian philosophy, sleep was a sacred passage, a crossing into realms unseen, where the soul could roam freely, gathering strength and insight. The robe was more than clothing. It was a symbol, a vessel. It marked the transition from the day's noise to the night's silence. As you lie here now, wrapped in your own softness, feel the connection. Feel the fabric against your skin. Feel the quiet breath of cloth moving with your every exhale. You are part of a lineage of those who honor rest, who recognize the power in surrendering to night. Let the softness carry you. Let the rhythm of your breath slow and deepen. The night is long and gentle. Your robe, your blanket, your space, all part of this sacred dance. Sleep is not an end. It is a beginning, a renewal, a sacred journey. And as you drift deeper, know that you walk alongside kings, wrapped in the same quiet fabric of peace. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be soft, your rest deep, and your awakening peaceful. The night drapes itself quietly, a soft veil over the world, breath by breath. The darkness deepens and the stars shine gently, ancient witnesses to the stories whispered through time. In the stillness of a Persian night, the king prepares for rest, not hurriedly, but with deliberate calm. The chambers, illuminated by the subtle flicker of oil lamps, hold a delicate warmth, a contrast to the cool stone beneath his feet. Before him, folded neatly on a low wooden stool, lies the garment of sleep, a robe spun from the finest flax fibers, woven by skilled hands, guided by centuries of tradition. Its texture is soft, yet strong, a gentle embrace that breathes with the body. The colors are muted and natural, reflecting the earth and sky. Soft creams, gentle blues, and warm, sandy tones. These hues, selected with intention, are part of the ritual of rest. They calm the senses, quiet the mind. The robe carries more than fabric, it carries essence, infused with subtle scents of rose and sandalwood. It weaves a fragrant thread through the air. This scent is a balm, a whispered invitation to let go. The king's hand reaches for the robe, and as his fingers trace its folds, he feels the weight of the day begin to fall away. The power, the responsibility, the endless demands, all melt into the night's soft shadow. He slips the robe over his shoulders. The fabric settles like a second skin. He inhales deeply, letting the scents fill his lungs. His breath slows. His heartbeat softens. The world outside fades into a distant murmur. The fabric cradles him, guiding him gently toward rest. In the philosophy of the time, sleep was sacred, a threshold between the physical and the spiritual, a moment when the soul could journey beyond the body, seeking wisdom, healing, and renewal. The robe was part of this journey, a vessel that protected and comforted. Now, as you lie wrapped in your own garment of rest, feel the connection. Feel the softness against your skin, the gentle rustle as you shift. You are not alone. You walk with kings and commoners alike, bound by the universal need for peace. Let your breath deepen. Let your muscles relax. The night is yours now. Your robe, your blanket, your space, all part of this sacred ritual. Sleep is not just a break. It is a renewal, a sacred passage through time and space. And as you drift, wrapped in softness and calm, know that you are part of an ancient story, a story of rest, resilience, and reverence. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be as serene as the Persian desert sky, and may you awaken with the peace of one who has journeyed far and returned home. The night lingers softly, a gentle lullaby in the vastness of time. The flicker of an oil lamp casts tender shadows that sway gently on the walls of an ancient chamber. Here, the Persian king prepares for rest, a moment suspended between the day's end and the mysteries of sleep. The robe lies folded with care, woven from threads spun in distant fields, each strand holding the memory of earth, wind, and sun. Its texture is cool and smooth, like water flowing softly over worn stone. The colors are muted, soft blues blending into creamy whites, echoing the sky at dawn. Gentle desert sands. The fabric carries a faint scent, rose petals crushed beneath the fingers, cedar wood burned in distant fires. a whisper of myrrh and the earth's own breath. The king's hand reaches out, touches the soft folds, feeling the weight of history and care. To wear this robe is to step into a ritual. The noisy world slips away, replaced by silence and calm. The heavy mantle of rule falls away, and only softness remains. The linen slides gently over skin, breathing in rhythm with the body as the king settles onto his bed. The night air cools, and his breath slows. The fabric cradles him, holding him in a gentle embrace. Sleep, in the Persian view, was more than rest. It was a sacred voyage, the soul, freed from its earthly bonds, traveled through realms of light and shadow, seeking wisdom, healing, and renewal. The night robe was a guardian on this journey, a soft armor that shielded the sleeper from harm and welcomed the gentle flow of dream. Now, imagine your own space. Feel the softness that touches your skin, the way fabric moves with every breath, every small shift of your body. You are part of this ancient dance, connected through time to kings and commoners alike, to those who understood. Thirst is sacred. Let your breath deepen. Feel the tension melt away. The world fades softly into the background. You are wrapped in softness. You are held in calm. The night is long and kind, and as you drift gently into sleep, know that you carry the legacy of centuries, a legacy of care, of respect, quiet, strength. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be as gentle as the desert breeze, and your rest as deep as the ancient earth beneath you. The stillness of the night deepens, wrapping around you like a gentle shawl. The air is cool, tinged with the faint fragrance of distant gardens. In the quiet of an ancient chamber, the Persian king prepares for rest, moving slowly with care. The robe, folded neatly, waits like a silent companion, woven from the finest flax. The fabric is soft and breathable, cool to the touch, but warm against the skin. Its colors reflect the desert dawn, soft creams, gentle blues, and pale golds, mirroring the light as it slowly spills across the land. Each thread carries the story of the earth, of the sun's warmth and the evening breeze. The robe holds more than just cloth. It holds essence, essence of rose petals crushed beneath gentle hands, of a cedarwood smoke curling upward, of myrrh's subtle sweetness, and the very breath of the land itself. The king's fingers brush over the fabric, feeling the delicate weave. The craftsmanship passed down through generation. To wear this robe is to enter a sacred space, a space where power yields to peace, where the burdens of the day dissolve. The linen slips over skin like a whisper, inviting the body to relax, to breathe deeply to let go in the philosophy of ancient Persia. Sleep was a passage, a journey where the soul unfurled its wing, traveling through realms beyond sight, seeking rest, renewal, and wisdom. The night robe was both shield and guide, offering gentle protection, a soft embrace as the sleeper crossed into the unknown. Now, in your own space, feel the fabric against your skin, whether linen, cotton, or something familiar. It connects you to this age-old ritual, a ritual of care, of intention, of respect for the night's mystery. As your breath slows and deepens, let the softness envelop you. Let your muscles unwind. The world fades into a distant hum. You are wrapped in calm, held in softness. The night stretches on, timeless and kind. And as you drift into sleep, know that you are part of an ancient story, a story woven with threads of peace, resilience, and gentle strength. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be light as desert air, and your rest as deep as the star-filled sky. The night's quiet breath flows gently around you, soft and steady, like waves on a calm sea, in the heart of ancient Persia, beneath the vast star-lit sky. The king prepares for his nightly rest. The chamber is dimly lit by oil lamps, casting a warm glow on the stone walls, their flickering light dancing with shadows. Folded carefully on a low stool lies the king's robe, a garment woven from fine flax fibers, light as a whisper, yet sturdy and protective. Its colors are soft and natural, creams, pale blues, and gentle golds, echoing the desert dawn and the soft light of early morning. The fabric holds more than the warmth of the sun. It carries the essence of the earth, the scent of crushed rose petals, the smoky hint of cedar wood, and the delicate sweetness of myrrh. The king's hand reaches out, his fingers brushing the smooth weave, feeling the care and tradition stitched into every thread, slipping the robe over his shoulders. He feels the day's weight begin to fall away. The softness wraps around him like a tender embrace, inviting calm and quiet. In the ancient Persian view, sleep was a sacred crossing, a voyage of the soul beyond the body, where dreams wove truths and healing. The night robe was more than clothing. It was a guardian, a gentle shield in the darkness. And as the king settles onto his bed, breath slows, mind quiets, and the night carries him gently onward. Now, in your own quiet space, feel the softness against your skin. Let the fabric move with your breath. You are wrapped in the same care, the same timeless ritual. Let your muscles relax. Let your thoughts drift. The world outside fades. You are cradled in calm. The night stretches wide and endless. And as you drift deeper, know you carry a legacy of rest, of peace and gentle strength. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be soft as the desert breeze, and your rest deep as the ancient earth beneath you. The night unfolds slowly, like the delicate petals of a desert flower. A gentle stillness pervades the air, as if time itself has paused to breathe. In a quiet chamber, far away, the Persian king prepares for rest. The walls, cool and smooth, hold echoes of distant conversations, soft footsteps, and the faint rustle of silk. The king's robe lies waiting, folded with meticulous care, woven from the finest flax fibers. Its texture is soft, almost like a whisper on the skin. The colors are muted, natural, the gentle cream of sand, the pale blue of a calm sky, the warm gold of fading sunlight. Each thread carries the essence of the land, the scent of crushed rose petals, the smoke of cedarwood fires, and the delicate sweetness of myrrh. These fragrances mingle in the still air, creating an invisible shroud of calm and peace. The king's hand reaches out slowly, fingers tracing the soft fabric. He slips the robe over his shoulders, feeling the gentle weight settle around him. Under embrace after the burdens of the day, his breath deepens, his heartbeat slows, the noise of the world fades away, replaced by the quiet hum of night. Sleep, in the Persian tradition, was not merely rest. It was a sacred passage, a journey of the soul into realms beyond the waking world. The night robe was both armor and invitation, a soft shield guarding the sleeper from unseen shadows, and a welcoming cloak for the gentle flow of dreams. As the king reclines, the fabric shifts softly with his movements, breathing with his body, a partner in the dance of rest. Now, in your own quiet space, feel the softness that touches your skin, whether linen, cotton, or a fabric familiar to you. Know that it connects you to an ancient ritual, a ritual of care and reverence for the night. Let your breath deepen, your muscles unwind. The world fades into a distant hum. You are wrapped in calm, held in gentle peace. The night stretches on, timeless, vast, and kind. And as you drift deeper, know that you are part of a lineage of those who honor rest, who embrace the sacredness of sleep. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be soft as the desert breeze, and your rest as deep as the ancient earth beneath you. The night drapes itself softly around you, like the gentle fold of a silk robe. Each breath you take slows, calms, deepens in a distant time and place. The Persian king prepares for his nightly rest. The chamber is quiet, filled only with the soft glow of oil lamps, their flickering flames casting warm shadows on the smooth stone walls. The bed, simple yet elegant, awaits. At its edge, the king's robe lies folded, woven from flax, spun by patient hands. The fabric is light and cool, a whisper against the skin. Its colors are soft creams pale blues, gentle golds, echoing the desert dawn, and the fading light of the sun. The scent of rose and cedar wood lingers in the air, subtle and calming, a fragrant embrace, inviting peace. Thing reaches for the robe, his fingers tracing the delicate weave. Slipping it over his shoulders, he feels the weight of the day begin to lift. The fabric wraps him like a tender shield, a barrier against the worries and noise. As he reclines, his breath slows, his muscles relax. The room feels still, as if the very air waits, holding its breath alongside him. In Persian thought, sleep was a sacred journey, a crossing from the physical world into realms unseen. The night robe was a companion on this voyage, a guardian of dreams, a soft vessel of protection. Now, in your own space, feel the fabric that touches your skin. Notice its softness, the way it moves with your every breath. You are part of this ancient ritual, a ritual of care, of reverence for rest, of quiet strength. Let your breath deepen. Let your muscles unwind. The world outside fades to a gentle hum. You are wrapped in calm, held in peace. The night stretches vast and kind, and as you drift deeper, know that you carry a legacy of rest, of renewal, of gentle power. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be soft as desert winds, and your rest as deep as the ancient earth beneath you. The night wraps the world in its gentle embrace, a soft sigh carried on the desert breeze. The chamber of the Persian king is still, bathed in the faint glow of flickering lamps. The air is cool and scented, a delicate blend of rose, cedar, and myrrh, lingering like a whispered promise. Before him, the sleek robe rests folded, woven from flax, spun with care, its threads light and soft as clouds. Its colors are muted and soothing, soft creams and blues that echo the dawn, the shifting sands beneath a pale sky. The fabric is more than cloth. It is a vessel of calm, a tangible connection to earth and sky. The king reaches out slowly, his fingers brushing over the fine weave, feeling the history stitched into every thread. As the robe settles over his shoulders, a sense of peace flows through him. The burdens of rulership begin to fade, replaced by the quiet of night. His breath deepens, his heartbeat slows. The king lies back, the soft fabric cradling him gently, like a protective shroud woven of care. Sleep, in Persian philosophy, was a sacred journey, a crossing from the waking world to realms unseen. Yao, the robe was a guardian, an invitation, a soft armor against the shadows of night. Now, as you lie wrapped in your own softness, feel the fabric that touches your skin. Notice how it moves with your breath, how it offers gentle comfort. You are part of an ancient ritual, a lineage of those who honor rest. Let your muscles unwind. Let your thoughts float away. The world outside quiets, fading to a distant hum. You are held in calm, wrapped in peace. The night stretches vast and kind, and as you drift gently into sleep, know you carry the legacy of centuries, a legacy of rest, renewal, and quiet strength. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be soft as desert whispers, and your rest as deep as the earth beneath you. The night deepens softly, folding the world into a quiet dream. The chamber, still and serene, holds the scent of ancient earth, woven with rose and cedar, a whisperer of bygone days. The Persian king's robe lies folded, a delicate bundle of history and care, spun from flax fibers, woven by hands that knew the rhythm of the land. It feels light and cool to the touch, like a breath of desert air at dawn. Its colors are gentle, cream, soft blue, and warm gold, mirroring the vast skies and shifting sands. The fabric carries the essence of the earth itself, infused with a faint scent of myrrh and crushed petals, a fragrance that calms the spirit and invites peace. The king's fingers brush over the weave, feeling the stories stitched into each thread. The robe slips over his shoulders, and he feels the day's weight dissolve. The cool linen embraces him, a soft shield against the darkness. His breath slows, his heartbeat softens. Sleep, to the Persians, was a sacred passage, a journey beyond the physical world, into realms where the soul could roam freely. The robe was both guardian and guide, a gentle armor woven for rest. Now, imagine yourself in your own quiet space. Feel the fabric that brushes your skin, soft and warm, moving gently with your every breath. You are part of this ancient tradition, a tradition of honoring rest, of embracing the sacredness of night. Let your muscles relax. Let your mind drift like a feather. The world fades softly away. You are wrapped in calm, held in gentle peace. The night stretches wide and kind, and as you drift deeper, know you carry a legacy of rest, renewal, and quiet strength. Good night, gentle traveler. May your dreams be soft as desert winds, and your rest as deep as the earth beneath you.